Hello? Can you hear me? How's everyone doing today? It's Atomicon Rex here with another movie review. Thanks for tuning in. It's September 25th, 2022, and we're just going to jump into it. So I think I found me a hidden gem here. The movie's called SIREN. It was made in 2016. It was directed by Greg Bishop. I really don't know any of his movies. I found it on the Amazon. I had to rent it. I had to rent it out for $3.99. I didn't get it with my Prime account. I had to rent this one out. But I think it was a hidden gem. So let's talk about it a little bit. Let's analyze it. So what is the genre? SIREN is a horror fantasy film. It's actually based on a short story from the VHS franchise. That's an anthology of a bunch of different scary stories. And so how I heard about this movie, I was listening to somebody else do a review on the movie VHS, and there's this, I forget the name of the short story. I think it's I can't think of it right now, but there's this vampire short story in it. At least that's what I thought it was. I figured it was a vampire, but geez, when I saw it, I was like, man, they need to make a live feature out of this. So anyways, well, he's doing a review on the VHS anthology series, and he brings that up. He says, well, they did a movie by the name of SIREN, and it's based on this. So I automatically backed out of his review. Didn't even finish the review, and went and looked it up on Amazon, which I had to pay for to get it. So you might be able to find it on Hulu, Netflix, one of those accounts, without having to rent it. I'm not sure. I didn't look. Now that I think about it, I probably should have. But that's all I got for there. Okay, so what is the narrative prediction of this movie? I thought it was a vampire movie. I was wrong. She is definitely not a vampire. She's a siren. And what they are, they come from Greek myth. They're partly human creatures that can sing. And when they sing, they either drive the people crazy, like the Navy sailors crazy, or the sailors turn on each other, and I don't know. They start singing, and people go crazy. So that's what the siren is. That's what this movie is basically based on. It's based on the siren mythos or lore. What type of film is it? It's a live action film. It's a live action horror film. It's cheesy though. Okay, so for what the movie is based on, the VHS short story called it's on the tip of my tongue, Amateur by Night, or something like that. Amateur Night, something like that. That was the found footage. Okay, so it was pretty realistic. It's a found footage film. This one, they're kind of corny, kind of cheesy. It's kind of slapstick. Doesn't really take itself too seriously until the monster shows up, of course. Then it is. Original work. Is it original work? No, it's not. It's not an original work. It's based, like I said, on a short movie. VHS, found footage. I already talked about that a little bit. Alright, what are some of the movie tropes and plot conventions? It's a bachelor party gone wrong movie. What kind of movie is that? That's basically a movie that where people plan a normal night out on the town, and it goes horribly and wildly wrong. Okay, so wrong that there are after effects, detrimental after effects during the night out. So there's really not a happy ending. And bachelor party movies that go wrong. There's really never really a happy ending to them. Moving on to that set design. What is the set design? The set design was pretty good. The CGI monster was believable. I mean, it didn't take me out the film at all. She was scary. She looked real. I mean, you know it's CGI just because you can tell that's still CGI. But the graphics were good. They did put some money into it. And it wasn't just the graphics of the monster. Like, there's a couple of different supernatural effects or creatures in the movie. They were done pretty well. And then there's the characters eat something, and it has an effect, a mental effect on them. And how they depict that in the film was pretty interesting. I like the graphics and the effects that they used on that. What was the environment? It was the location was basically a magical brothel. Okay, so like this guy ran a brothel that had magical creatures in it. So like if you wanted to talk to your dead loved one or something, you could bring your urn or their ashes to this brothel, and for a price he would either link you up with a psychic, or you could go into this room and actually talk to the ghost of your dead loved one. I thought that was pretty interesting. It had a 13 Ghost type of vibe to it, but it didn't really, like, the ghosts weren't trapped. I mean, some of them were, but most of them weren't. I liked it. It was a pretty good idea. I don't think I ran across that idea in movies lately. Like, there was the Cabin in the Woods movie that kind of dealt with that theme, where you've had multiple supernatural creatures kind of stored in a certain area. That's kind of what this is. But this one was done a little different. Okay, the weapons. What kind of weapons did they use in this film? It's basically spellcraft. So, you're dealing with supernatural creatures. So there's going to be, you're going to have magic circles, enchanted collars, chants, holy water, holy objects, all of these things. These are the weapons that they're using. Now there is modern weapons, like I think there's like knives and guns and stuff. And another cool element that they had to use against the supernatural creature, because she could sing. So, one of the plot devices or defenses that they used was plugging in AirPods in the ear and turning the music on. And so they couldn't hear her voice, and they were immune from her spell because of that. I thought that was a neat little trick to counteract her magic by using modern technology. Okay, let's talk about the characters a little bit. Mostly all of the characters were forgettable. Like, there wasn't really a standout character besides, maybe the villain of the story and the supernatural creature. There were 4 friends. 2 of them were brothers, and it's a bachelor nights out. None of them really stood out. Like, I couldn't tell you who was the hero, I couldn't tell you which brother was rich or which friend was rich. I couldn't tell you. And that goes along with the acting was kind of cheesy. So I wasn't too invested into it. I just kind of waited to see the monster and, the interaction with the monster and the main character of the story. So the villain, he's basically your Man in Black TV trope, occultist type. He has a black hat and a black suit and these rings of silver on his hands, and you could tell he's into the occult. He knows everything about the occult. And so he's just this snake oil salesman type of guy who runs this brothel full of supernatural creatures. Damsel in distress / sidekick. Well, her name is Lily. I'm thinking that they're getting that from the Lilith mythology, connected to Adam in the Bible, like the biblical Lilith. I think that's why they called her Lily. I'm assuming that's why they called her Lily. She was believable. She was terrifying. It's basically a Hellboy movie trope in the sense that they summon a demon, and she's clearly a demon. Okay, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She's a demon, but it's not that she's good or evil. Like, she's just a creature. She's just another animal. She's just a magical animal that they summoned, and they're trying to control. And just like, the message in Jordan Peterson's Nope, you can't control wild creatures. You can't do that. Okay, and that's basically what this movie is really, really talking about. Okay. Make sure. Let me get my notes together here. Sorry. Little pause. All right, plot twist. Were there any plot twists in the movie? Yeah, the victim is the real threat. The victim is Pandora's box. It's foolish to there's a reason why she's locked up. Don't open that box. Do not open Pandora's box. There's a reason why it's sealed. What's another plot twist? The realignment with the enemy to confront the greater threat. So basically what happens is they think that this creature is a sex slave, okay, and they release her from her dungeon or whatever, right? So she finds these keys, she gets these keys off the guards, and she undoes her bracelet. Well, the bracelet that's on her ankle, well, that's a magical bracelet that keeps her powers suppressed. And the moment it comes off, you can tell, because now she's moving. She's not moving like a regular human being. She's moving like a ghost. Very creepy, very jittery. The moment that ankle bracelet comes off. So I thought that was a neat little trick that they did. What else? Well, that's really it for the plot twist. The victim is the real threat, and they ended up having to realign with the enemy. Okay, yeah. So the Man in Black was definitely the villain in the beginning of the movie. He was like trying to get those guys killed. Okay, but then after the monster is released, they realize that they have to work together in order to stop her and to come together. And so the guys are kind of looking at this Man in Black guy kind of suspicious, but he's really the only guy who knows how to stop her, because they don't know what they're dealing with. They have no clue what they're dealing with. Did it break any new ground? It didn't really break any new ground, but it did add to Lily's mythos. Like I said, when I first saw the original story, I thought she was a vampire, but now I know that she's a siren, and I think they just added that. They could have probably added different elements to it, but they added that particular element because they wanted to make it a certain supernatural creature as opposed to a vampire or just, a regular demon like Jeepers Creepers. Okay, so summary and recommendations. So the summary is the movie SIREN. It is a offshoot from a small short story in the VHS cinematic universe. I found it on Amazon Prime. You may be able to find it other places. I had to rent it. So look at Hulu, Netflix before you rent this one. Do I recommend it? Yeah, I recommend it. It's a streaming movie. I don't recommend buying it. I heard it was released out in theaters, but that was like in 2016, so damn near 10 years ago, so which I didn't even know. But it's definitely something I would watch if you have seen VHS. If you haven't seen VHS, you can skip this one. It's not. It's really just a continuation of that first one. So before you see this one, rent the movie VHS first, so it can give you some background. Because like I said, this one is really cheesy and really corny, and the other one wasn't like that. The other one was dead serious. So that's pretty much my review. It's supernatural horror. It's ultra violent. Rated R. I mean hard R. Pushing NC-17. Like, I can't believe it's not an NC-17. There was some real graphic images in this movie. So, well, that's my recommendation. I do recommend that you stream it. Don't buy it. And that's pretty much it. Well, Atomicon Rex out. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.